looked at you. I was like, ah. Because I thought for sure you were sitting over there looking at your phone. I was like, finally, I can do the intro. And you were just like, got your number. And I was like, oh, she knows.
No way. I like to talk.
So, I don't know why the sexy Bulbasaur pin on your bag just really distracted me for a second there, and I totally went galaxy brain.
He is pretty sexy.
He is pretty sexy.
I like his pink underwears.
He's pretty sexy.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll take a picture of him later and upload him onto the Instagram.
Okay.
He's pretty sexy, you guys.
Super sexy.
You got, like, even as an ace, just, oh, that Bulbasaur. Anyways, we're talking about mommy issues.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at a sexy Bulbasaur pin. I think that must mean something about me having issues.
Oh, of course. I mean, it's on my bag, so.
Mommy issues.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, where do I even begin?
What is your first experience with a mommy issue?
I have a mother.
You're not wrong.
I think the real issue when it comes to my mommy issues is that it kind of reminds me of your situation a little bit, where my dad got sick when I was very young. I mean, I was 8 when he got sick. And for those of you who don't know, because maybe you're just tuning in for the first time, in which case, hi, I have issues. Don't you laugh. You have issues too, asshole.
I know, but it's just like that first introduction. Hi.
Hi.
I have issues.
That's how I greet everyone in my life. Hi.
True.
I have issues. You don't need my name. Just know that I have issues.
Yep.
My dad passed away from brain cancer when I was 13. But he was diagnosed with brain cancer when I was 8. Mm-hmm. Originally, he was given 6 weeks. Ended up obviously living for much longer than that. So it was a constant roller coaster of, oh, is he going to die this month? Maybe. We're not sure yet.
Yeah.
That's basically what half of my childhood was. And the other half of my childhood was, don't ever get sick, otherwise you could be responsible for killing your father.
Yeah. Sounds traumatic.
Yeah. Mommy issues, daddy issues. I have the gambit.
Yeah,
I have all of them. I hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
I hit the jackpot. But no, when it comes to my mommy issues, I think I kind of ran into somewhat of a similar issue to you, where my dad was diagnosed with cancer when I was very young, again, about 8 years old. And for those of you who maybe aren't aware, I do have an older sister. However, there are suspicions that she is a little bit more on the spectrum of Asperger's. They suspect that she's halo Asperger's. Whatever she is, she's not a people person. Mm-hmm. She's not a kid person.
Yeah.
Unlike your sister, who kind of managed to kind of start to take over that caregiver role. That's not my sister's personality.
Yeah, and my sister is also 6 years older than me.
Yeah, my sister is 18 months older than me and has not a single maternal bone in her body. If I ever were to look at her and say, I'm hungry, her response would be,
okay.
What do you want me to do about it? So it very much became kind of one of these things where my mom, I don't want to say she was absent, because she really did try as hard as humanly possible to be there for my sister and I, while also knowing that she basically had to take care of her terminally ill husband. Yeah. Who, again, we were told by every single doctor, oh, he could die at any time. Yeah. So we were treating every single moment like the last. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of one of those things where there were a lot of times where, for example, with dinner, she may have found the energy to make dinner, but she wouldn't be able to sit and eat it with us because she would have to go and feed my dad. As weird as that sounds, that's kind of one of the things you deal with a sick parent, right? Yeah. So, and of course, with my sister not having a maternal bone in her body, it was me, myself and I. Yeah. And again, it made it very hard. When I was younger, I was actually an extremely sociable kid. But unfortunately, through that kind of childhood isolation, and I'll be honest, I was also a really awkward kid at this point, because it kind of got to the point that I couldn't have friends over or anything like that. And there were a lot of days that I ended up getting pulled out of class early because dad was sick or something like that, and maybe he had to go to the hospital, or I was just under so much stress that I was having breakdowns. Yeah. Especially by the time I got to middle school, don't even get me started. You know, the ugly duckling phase was bad enough without, being told, oh, hey, your dad's not doing well, so we're kind of worried that he's going to cack it this weekend. Yeah. And we're like, oh. So unfortunately, it's just, there was so much going on in my childhood that There's kind of a bit of resentment to some extent, and it's so hard because I don't know how to feel about it.
What do you mean?
Looking at it from a childhood perspective, it's why I say I don't want to say my mom was absent because she wasn't.
Yeah.
But from my memory as a child, my memory goes, well, she wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I'm not wrong, she wasn't there. But my adult brain goes, well, what did you expect her to do? She had a terminally ill husband, and it was either she made sure that he was fed, or she sat with her children who were more than capable of feeding themselves.
Yeah, but
what do you do,
when
right?
When you're a kid, you can't rationalize that.
And that's the problem, is that I have these irrational childhood memories and thoughts that now that I'm older, I'm kind of like, well, no, I can't expect that.
Yeah.
And yet the bitterness is still left behind from those childhood memories, and I'm like, how do I deal with that?
Therapy.
I need it badly.
Eventually.
But I think my relationship with my mom is also a little bit strained because we have the case of threes. Mm-hmm. Basically, there are three of us in my family now. It was originally my dad, my sister, my mom, and I.
Yeah.
After my dad kicked the bucket, there were three very headstrong women in the same house. That led to a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, whenever it comes to threes, and it's something I've experienced across the board with anyone, especially I deal with kids a lot.
Yeah.
Whenever you see those groups of three, you know that there's going to be a problem because it's almost always 2 against 1 if there's any sort of argument.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what I have dealt with, even throughout my childhood into my adult life, is that anytime there's an argument, it's always 2 against 1. Because inevitably that person that's playing monkey in the middle is going to side with one person more than the other.
Yeah.
And it leaves that one person out feeling so attacked.
Yeah.
Especially when you're as headstrong and aggressive as my family is when it comes to arguing.
Yeah, I know. I've experienced that.
Yeah, you've seen it. It's bad. It's like World War III. The nukes are going off. It's not good. Yeah. All life is dead.
Yeah.
It's dead. The buildings are burning.
Yeah.
The streets are flooding. The sky is falling. It's just not a good situation.
Sky is falling.
Yeah. It's just a really bad situation, and it's just rather unfortunate that it's definitely, I think I've mentioned to you before that it's always like, oh, I know that mom and I are going to be getting along really, really well for the next couple of weeks, and it's like, well, why? Because she and my sister had an argument. So I know that mom's not going to be arguing with me because they just had an argument.
Oh, gosh.
And the thing is that I know as soon as she starts getting on well with my sister, I'm like, oh, shit, here comes the boom.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, I'm getting it with both barrels from her. It's like she swings back and forth with whichever child she is more pleased with. And she's like, oh, I'm more pleased with your sister. Guess what, honey? It's going down for you. And it's like, oh, no, here it comes. So I guess there is some level of toxicity there to some extent because it's just kind of like...
Some level, she says.
The level is pretty high. The level is like max critical. It's pretty bad, I'm not going to lie. Recently, we have been in a good space, but I think 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, me sitting in the car with her yelling at me, and I sent you and Charlie that message to the group chat of me crying, and I was like, we love having good family dynamics in this house. We love having supportive family members. It was not a good situation.
I think I usually, when you guys fight, it's like I wait 2 months. And then I brace for another one. It's good timing.
It's completely cyclical. Yeah. And that's the weird, sickening thing about it. It's weirdly cyclical.
Yeah.
It's literally just... And I think the real issue comes in the fact that not only are my sister, my mom, and I all very headstrong, we are also the type of people to put ourselves through very stressful situations, and we all try to keep it to ourselves.
Yeah.
And we will hide it from everybody, but the problem is, the reason we're so good at hiding it from everybody else is because we take it out on each other instead.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't, if I am upset with what's going on at dance, no one at dance will ever know. But trust me, my mom will know exactly how angry I am about that one thing she did that one time, 3 months ago. She will know how angry I am about how things are going at dance. Yeah. Because she will get it with both barrels. Yeah. Unintentionally. It's just, things boil over. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that leads to so many arguments. Mm-hmm. And it's made for a really, I don't want to say it's a negative relationship because it isn't. But when we're in one of our argument cycles, it is absolutely a toxic relationship. Yeah. And I have no idea how to reconcile the two where it's like, oh, this month we're doing fine. Yeah. Oh, this month we want to kill each other. Yeah. It's not good. Yeah. It's not good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll take a break and we'll come back and we'll discuss mommy issues and adult life.
Oh, that's a whole other bucket of fish.
Yeah.
That's a whole other tea kettle. That's a whole other
Tea kettle.
Yeah.
What kind of tea?
Black tea, like my soul.
I like black tea. Anyways, go grab yourself a cup of black tea and come back. Hello and welcome back to Gay by Gay. So Abby,
Hi.
and your motherly issues. Motherly issues. How has these arguments impacted you and your independence as an adult? Because you're oldish now. How old are you? 25? 24?
24 turning 25. How about we never bring that up again, you asshole? We don't talk about
You're an adult.
We don't talk about my impending mortality.
You're
Thank you.
a fully fledged human.
Caca.
Not a fully fledged fledgling. A fully fledged human. Human.
It's definitely affected it, even from the time that I was a young adult, because I think I've mentioned before, I moved out when I was very young because my mom and I had an argument.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was over my sister moving back in to the house. I'm pretty sure that's why I moved out. And see, the problem here, as I've mentioned several times, is the stubbornness level. Because we had that argument when I was 17, and I had looked at her and I said, the day I walk out that door, I am never living under your roof again.
Yeah.
And I have stuck to that throughout the entire pandemic and everything else, and over all these years of running my own business, I have paid for an apartment by myself, and I have not allowed her to help me with it. Every time she offers any sort of financial help, I refuse, because there is this kind of unfortunate toxicity again, where if she offers help, I think in the moment she legitimately means to just give help.
Yeah.
But inevitably, the next time we argue, it will be, well, I do this for you, or I've done that for you, or, well, I'm not helping anymore. And it's one of those things when someone says, oh, I'm going to help you with this, especially if it's an ongoing issue, it's suddenly just, oh, here, I'm going to help you with this. Oh, but now I'm going to take it away.
Yeah.
But you need to rely on that because it's an agreement you've made. Do you know what I mean? And I learned this when I was very young, because when I had first moved out, I was still going to university at the time. And my mom and I had made an agreement where she said, Abby, I feel bad that you moved out and you're so young. I will help by paying down a small amount on your apartment every month.
Yeah.
And, at the time I was like, this is great. I mean, okay, I can get a little bit of help. And again, it was only maybe about $150 to $200 a month. But I was like, sure, I'll take help. Yeah. I very quickly realized that, she couldn't use the excuse of, well, my house, my rules anymore. Yeah. But she very quickly used the excuse of, well, I help you with your rent, so that's as good as living under my house, so you still have to follow my rules. And I went, oh.
That's not the way that works.
It's a trap.
Yeah.
It's a trap. I've been trapped. I've been stuck.
Yeah.
It was the unseen pitfall. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
And so, of course, now it's gotten to the point where things have been rough for so many people during the pandemic, and so many times my mom has tried to offer help, even financially, and every single time I refuse her, and it always leads to a fight. Yeah. Because she gets mad that I won't accept her help, but I won't accept her help because I'm always braced for when she's going to try and pull the rug out from under my feet, and it has made things very, very difficult. And I think the other problem is that we are either best friends or worst enemies. Yeah. There is no in between. There's no, oh, my mom and I are slightly on the outs. It's, no, she's my enemy. Yeah. Or, it's gross, toxic stuff like that. And I think the other problem that we majorly have, she and I deal with things very, very differently. In the sense of when we are arguing, we seek out two very different methods of reconciliation. Yeah. My idea of reconciliation is sitting down, talking out the issue, and coming to an agreement, a consensus, a compromise, something, dealing with the issue. Yeah. Her method of dealing with it is walking away and thinking about it to herself and then coming back later. Yeah. Both of these are legitimate methods of dealing with things, but they don't work together, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Not without prior compromise.
And the trouble is that she says she needs time to go away and think about things, and I can appreciate that. because she calms down and then comes back more level-headed.
Yeah.
I'm a serial overthinker, so if she goes away, I start having panic attacks and work myself up worse.
Yeah.
And so when we come back to the table, I'm an even bigger mess than I was before because I couldn't deal with it. But now also, I've been so stressed out that I haven't been eating, haven't been sleeping, haven't been doing anything, and have been having panic attacks.
Yeah.
And it's still an ongoing struggle that we're trying to sort out, is how do we deal with this? Mm-hmm. And I think the other issue is that I am a huge person for words mean a lot. If you are wrong, you need to admit it.
Yeah.
The phrase that we used to use is, if you mess up, you fess up. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you've screwed up, you sit there, you look at someone in the eye, and you go, I know I screwed up. I'm going to find a way to fix it.
Yeah.
Or here's my apology. I can acknowledge where I was wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mother's incapable of that. Mm-hmm. She literally can't.
Yeah.
And we've had a conversation about this before where she's basically said, for so long, she took on so much responsibility at a very young age. And I mean, she had quite a toxic relationship with her mother too, which is the unfortunate part. And I think that's where so much of this comes from, is that she used to take the blame for everything because that was her relationship with her mom. So now that she's become a mom herself, it's also well, I'm your mother.
Yeah.
I can't, anything I do isn't wrong inherently because I'm your mom.
Yeah.
It's you that's in the wrong. And I'm like, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
If you screw up, you need to admit to it. She can't.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just a whole other level of hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And again, it's also one of those things where I vocalize an apology. She shows an apology. Mm. I joked about this with you and Charlie before, where I always know if my mom's trying to apologize, because she'll start offering to buy me things or offering to do little favors for me, and I'm like, oh, this is her way of apologizing. But the trouble is, I would prefer just a straight up apology, and I would prefer to talk out the situation, but she can't do that.
Yeah.
It's trying to reconcile two. My mom and I are eerily alike in so many ways, but this is the one thing that we are so diametrically opposed on, that I have no idea how to find common ground. Mm-hmm. Because the trouble is that in order to give one person what they need or what they want, the other person has to go against their very nature.
Yeah.
And it works on both sides. If I get what I want, she doesn't get what she needs.
Yeah.
If she gets what she wants, I don't get what I need.
Yeah.
How do you even begin to try and bridge that gap?
I think maybe, like, something that is important to say before you, like, take a break from our argument is, I still love you. I'm still going to be here. I'm not leaving your life forever. I just need some time to think.
See, she's one of those people where if she gets mad, she just hangs up.
Yeah.
She's one of those, she doesn't say anything, she's just click, and you're like, oh! You know, like when you're trying to have an argument, or she's the worst one, she will call you, she will rant at you, and the second you try to stick up for yourself, she'll hang up on you. And you're like, okay, so you can get your word in, but the second I try to defend myself, you're just like, click. And it's like, oh, it bothers me so badly. Even sitting here, like, I feel it bubbling up in me, and I'm like, ah.
Because you guys have that tendency of, like, taking out life on each other.
Unfortunately. Yeah. And again, it's something that we both do, and I'm fine with admitting to that. I know it's an extremely toxic trait. It's something that I have been working on for a long time. And, you know, something that I'm more than willing to admit to, I struggled hard when I was 13, 14, 15 even. I was an extremely violent kid.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. My sister and I both were. We used to beat the shit out of each other. I think there were so many built up emotions, and there was so much going on with my dad being sick. We just didn't know how to deal with it, and we took it out on each other physically, because we had one of those weird families where we seemed like the perfect ideal family out in public, but if you went home, not good.
Yeah.
So it was a real journey for me to break that habit, and unfortunately then I got into verbalizing my discontent, and it became really, I don't even want to repeat some of the things that I used to say ever, because they were so terrible that I cringe thinking back to some of the things that I used to say. But again, that was my way of trying to curb the violent tendencies.
Yeah.
And then I have been continually working on not verbalizing as much, but now it's gotten to the point where, you know, we will argue, and now it's gotten to the point of me trying to regulate my emotions more, because I will find, like, I have a hairpin trigger.
Yeah.
And it's just because I continually, like, there's nowhere good to put half of these emotions. Do you know what I mean? And it's learning how to deal with them. But of course, this means that because I'm trying so hard not to have any outbursts of any kind, either verbal or physical, it means that I reach my breaking point very, very quickly where it's like, I need an apology. I need you to stop and listen to me.
Yeah.
And it's such a bad situation. And again, I have no problem admitting that obviously it takes two to argue. I'm part of the problem. Yeah. It's just I don't know how to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
And that's where my mommy issues come in because it's something we're still trying to work on to this day. Mm-hmm. And it's just,
breaking that cycle.
We had a conversation the other day and, she had said that she felt bad because we had been having an argument and all of a sudden she had hung up on me and I, of course, was flipping out, having a panic attack. 2 hours later, she calls me and says, I came to a realization that I'm acting like my mother used to.
Yeah.
And she had said, I hate it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to not be like that.
Yeah.
Because that's what my mom used to be like.
Yeah.
So now we're dealing with 2 generations of mommy issues.
Yeah.
And I don't even know.
These things don't come from nowhere.
And
they
that's
come
the problem.
From somewhere. They always do.
Her reaction is from the way she used to be with her mom. But now the poison is spreading from one generation to the next. And it's like, how do we even begin to clean this up? This is like the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah. We don't know where to start. This is just a big problem.
Yeah.
But we're working towards it, and I'm hoping that over time we will continue making progress. I think we've made a couple of breakthroughs recently. But that doesn't mean that you and Charlie are not going to be getting more snaps and Instagram messages of me crying, being like, someone please kill me.
Yeah.
Get me out of here. I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Yeah.
But we would love to hear from you. I'm sure there are a lot of you out there that also have mommy issues that, you've never even verbalized them. Because, again, I feel like we all talk about daddy issues.
Yeah.
But we rarely ever talk about the issues we have with our maternal figures. Yeah. And I think it is something that's good to talk about.
Moms are important.
And the other thing that I just want to say, go to therapy.
Yeah.
Go to therapy.
Everyone.
I need therapy. You need therapy. We need therapy.
I don't care if you think you don't need it. Yeah, you
need it. You know what color we haven't tried yet? Therapy.
Even my 1-minute therapy plug. Even if you feel like there's nothing wrong, sometimes you will automatically receive all of these mechanisms and ways of dealing with life from your parents. And therapy helps you look at that and go, I would like to keep this thing and maybe change this thing a little bit.
And that would be so helpful because I'm sure a therapist would easily be able to tell my mother and I where to at least start.
Yeah.
But the problem is that neither of us are in therapy, and that's the real problem here.
Yeah, exactly.
How do I start? Therapy! I can hear the echoes across time, and my reaction is just to go, did you hear something? It's like my brain doesn't even acknowledge the fact that I've heard something important, but... Sorry, was that an echo? I didn't hear anything.
Was that something that'll help me? Must have been the wind.
Sorry, we don't get any sunshine in my hellscape, okay?
Oh, true.
The good messages don't get through.
Anyways, we hope you're doing well, guys.
Go to therapy, take your pills, drink your water.
Thank you for listening. Stay hydrated. Sleep.
Yeah, sleep.
And we wish that you will take it day by day, guys.
Bye.